Hey y'all, what's up? This is going to be another weekly reading vlog. However, this time around, rather than a readathon, the theme for this is to raid my shelves. This is coming about because I am unhappy with the number of books I currently own that I haven't read. That means I'm raiding my shelves, figuring out what books I want to read this month. I talked about this in my October TBR, and so the books I went with were The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd-Jones, as well as Night Film by 𝗖cie když. Both of these were just talking to me. They worked with the whole spooky vibe that I was going for, and thus far, I've already started on The Bone Houses. This is a standalone fantasy, and as you can tell, I'm already really enjoying the writing as I have 2 annotations. Thus far, I know we are following our main character, Ren. Once upon a time, her father was the only person that could traverse this forest in their town, in which there are often bone houses, which are basically reanimated corpses who weren't buried properly. Ren's father did eventually teach her how to work through the forest and how to take care of the bone houses, but unfortunately, at one point, he attempted to take a traveler through the woods along with him, and neither of them ever came back. There's a bit of a skip between when those events happen and where we're following Ren now. She's a bit older. I think she's a teenager. I don't know if her mother is around either, but she also has a younger brother who is pretty similar in age to her, as well as a little sister who is a good few years younger than both of them. And obviously, both of the older siblings are very attentive to their youngest little sister. I'm already really enjoying the sibling dynamics that's going on here. Ren is definitely more of like the get your hands dirty, do it all yourself sort of girl, whereas her brother is definitely more prim and proper and is wanting to be the business side of things. The family business does seem to be that they handle bodies and bury them, or take care of the bone houses also. We also get another perspective of, I think his name was 𝗖cie, who is a map maker and I think has been injured in some kind of way, but that's about all we really know. Like I said, I'm barely into chapter 3, but I'm already pretty invested so far. I'm really enjoying this. I also like the audiobook narrator, which I've been listening to a little bit as well. She just has a perfect voice for this kind of old world feel that the story is giving me, and I already am enjoying the writing. It's very beautiful and definitely atmospheric. It matches the creepy yet beautiful imagery on the cover, so I'm loving that the tone is living up to that. The breaks between chapters are also these adorable little flowers, so technically speaking, I'm not going to talk about this book in this video, but I am reading another book that's off my shelves, and I only have like 50 more pages left. Actually, it might be more than 50. Okay, no, it's more like 90 pages left, but this is 𝗖cie by Erin Sterling, and I'm really into it, so I might try and finish this one tonight instead of continuing with Bone Houses, just because I've been blasting through this really fast. I only started it on Friday. Kind of impressive I've worked through this much. As for regular vlog stuff, Josh and I went to a haunted house last night and it was super awesome. I'd never been to this one, in which they actually had the haunted houses running. They did a bit of like a drive-through haunted house last year, but it just wasn't the same at all, and it was really entertaining. I only really have one little piece of video that I can toss in here, but it was these adorable drums that they used and turned into basically jack-o'-lanterns, and it lit the way to the haunted houses. It was so cool. We also watched 𝗖cie, which is a Freaky Friday sort of spin in a horror movie created by the same guy who wrote the Happy Death Day movies, and I love those. Oh my god, it was so funny. It definitely felt a little bit like a campy horror movie, but at the same time, it just worked that black humor so well. Oh, it was a great time. I really recommend watching that one. That's about it for now. I think I'm gonna go take a bath and get some reading done, because that just sounds really relaxing. I also kind of have a headache coming in, so I'm hoping maybe that'll help me chill out a little bit and get rid of this thing, because it sucks, and having this light shining on my face is not great for it. Hey guys, so it's Monday. Please excuse that I look a hot freaking mess, but I went to the gym and as soon as I got home, it was time for dinner, so I haven't gotten a chance to take a shower yet, but I also am going to try out a new editing software, so I'm trying to set it up on my computer so that it can process and download while I'm in the shower. While also doing that, I'm going to give you guys a quick little update because I have gotten a bit further into the Bone Houses. I am at page 89, chapter 10, and obviously I'm really enjoying this. I've been tabbing it up a good deal, and I'm actually writing in it in pen because I'm just already kind of in love with these characters. Rin is such a badass and she is definitely standing up for her family, which I love. Her brother thinks that they should end up moving to a different city. That way it would probably be more profitable for them to just sell their house because unfortunately their mom has passed away and their uncle has left them here in his debt. So they're having to slowly scrape by, but unfortunately it doesn't look like things are going very well. She actually has been hired by Ellis, who I mentioned previously as being a map maker, and she is going to take him up into the mountains, which are past the forest. He's going to map those out and then sell them for a lot of money probably. Hopefully that way they both can make a bit of a profit, and maybe this way Rin and her family can stay in the town. However, while all this is going on, there's also some town politics taking place, and one of the biggest issues is that apparently other people in the town don't really believe in the bone houses anymore, but they are starting to skirt the line of the forest more and more and coming closer to the actual town, which is definitely a problem. While I was reading, also there is a section where we get a little bit of world building in which Rin is explaining the backstory to the bone houses and the lore of this area to Ellis. In that, it is very interesting because she is telling him a story, but then it changes chapters and the perspective shifts, so it's also as though we are reading a story as well. With that section, we learn a bit about some of the different mythical beings that used to roam this area, and a few of them that were listed sounded familiar to me. Probably learned about them in the podcast lore. I really recommend that if you've never listened to it. It's so fascinating. And it got me wondering, maybe this was based on Irish or Welsh folklore. So I looked it up, and yes, it is based on Welsh folklore, which is super cool and very ironic because I just finished the 𝗖cie yesterday night, and the male love interest in that, Rhys, is Welsh. So unintentionally continuing a Welsh streak, apparently. Regular vlog stuff. I had work today. Unfortunately, I've been kind of dealing with a headache on and off the last 2 days. I think I mentioned it in my last update. And on top of that, this like whole section of my neck and shoulder is just super sore. Even with all of that, I still went to the gym. Don't know why. Apparently I'm a masochist. But I did my time on the elliptical. Oh, okay. Cool. Anyway, because this was all hurting, I didn't do any arm exercise, but I did some stretching, which was really nice. I needed it, and it was just relaxing, particularly after doing all of my leg exercises. Yeah, I was still feeling it. I'm probably not nearly as sore as I was in comparison to my last vlog where I hadn't worked out for a week. Still feeling it though. Oh, it's running. Oh, I didn't have to answer those. Oh well. The weather has been very up and down. This morning it felt like fall and was absolutely wonderful, and I was like, you know what, I'm officially gonna dress for it. I wore a cute dress and I put long sleeves under it, and I wore some booties, and I was just really feeling my outfit. But of course, what ends up happening, by like 3 o'clock it's 75 degrees out and I was sweating. Love fall in Texas. It's great. My boyfriend and I have been theorizing that it's possible that the total up and down of the weather is why I've just been dying from headaches the last 2 days. So I'm really hoping it's not migraines. Usually my migraines are like right here in the back of my neck because they're in my occipital lobe, but today it was more like in this area. I don't know what this is, but anyway, I finally got this running and it is at 39% installing, so I'm gonna take the time to actually finally go take a shower. I'm definitely gonna read some more because oh my gosh, loving this, so invested. Definitely gonna tab some more up, I just know it. Hey y'all, so it is Wednesday. Sorry I didn't update yesterday. Work was kind of crazy. I got some not so great news, and then I hung out at my brother's, so I got pretty much no reading done. However, I slept like the dead last night, got a great night of sleep, started the day rip-roaring, ready to go, and jumped right into the audiobook for this baby. Continuing on, I'm still really enjoying this. It's definitely slow-paced. I think the one other book that I can probably equate this closest to is To Kill a Kingdom. It kind of gives me very similar vibes, vibes. That one has more of like a nostalgic feel, whereas this one I think is more learning about a new folklore that I don't know too much about, so I'm really enjoying that. I continue to really love how anytime world building is done, it is Ren telling it to Ellis, and then the perspective kind of shifts so that it seems like we're reading an additional story within the story, and I'm really liking that. We've seen more of the Bonehouse's characters by now, and although they're kind of zombies, they're zombies from folklore and not really from horror, so the connotation around them is pretty different. As we've ventured further into the forest, I'm just realizing that the writing is incredibly lyrical and lush, just like the setting, and the atmosphere in this is fantastic. It definitely has that creepy vibe that To Kill a Kingdom did as well. I also realized, I don't think I mentioned, that this has some chronic pain rep in our main character Ellis. There's been a good few lines in here that I just think are very well done, in which he is describing his relationship with pain, and I think that's been handled very well so far. That's pretty much all I can talk about without getting into spoilery bits, but other vlog stuff. It's Wednesday, so I'm doing movie night with my friends. I had another pretty busy day at work today, and I'm fairly mentally drained. I also had my period start a week early, wasn't expecting that, that's fun. And now, because of that, I went to the gym and didn't want to do like this high intensity workout when I'm already mentally drained, and now my body is just hating me. So I did yoga instead for the first time at the gym. So it's not a class because my gym is very small, very limited, so there isn't any classes. I just did one on my phone. Thankfully it was pretty dead again, so I didn't have to wear a mask. Talk to y'all later. I will definitely get more read tonight, I promise. Hey y'all! So it is Thursday, and guess what? I officially finished out the Bonehouses last night. That's because my friends and I ended up not watching a movie. Rather, we basically did our own reading sprints together, and I'm not complaining about it because I got about 150 pages of this read last night. I really enjoyed it, if you can't tell from the tons of sticky tabs. Initially, oranges were just supposed to be lines that I really liked, and yellows were just supposed to be scenes that I was really enjoying. Then the yellows turned into literally every interaction between our main characters, in which there was some tiny semblance of romantic elements there. This is so slow burn, and I am talking slow burn to the point that I was squealing when they held hands trying to stay together while they're traversing through the dark. But I was squealing because they were holding hands and in physical contact. I loved it. I was really hoping this book was going to be good, but I was a little nervous because it was a standalone fantasy. This shows that you can have a atmospheric, immersive world with developed characters and a well fleshed out plot, because I enjoyed this so much. It's definitely slow paced, I will say that, and apparently I'm just learning that slow paced fantasy is my thing. Like I've mentioned before, this took the time to set up the world and to draw from the Welsh influences and really highlight some of the lore that this was written from, and I loved that. On top of it, we also were able to see an establishment of our main character, Ren, her place in her family, her place in the community, and I think that helped to develop her more as a character and understand who she was. She's definitely rough and tough, badass, stubborn, and I loved her for it. She was fantastic. On the opposite side with Ellis, golden retriever boys aren't usually my thing, but I loved him so much, and the development of him was just amazing. He is maybe not the strongest physically, but mentally, oh my gosh, this man. And he's constantly in pain, and yet he's always there with a funny quip and taking every situation so lightly that Ren has to remind him the dire circumstances at certain times, and I just love it. Also, this man is a simp if I've ever seen one, okay? I think I mentioned previously that this didn't really have that nostalgic feeling of a fairy tale like that of To Kill a Kingdom, but although it wasn't nostalgic, The writing is definitely whimsical and reminiscent to a fairy tale, and I think because this is based on lore, that makes total sense. I just loved that this also had that very eerie, creepy, spooky feel of an atmosphere, and it makes sense when you think about the fact that the biggest problem in the story is the bone houses, which are basically zombies. All around, I really enjoyed this book. I didn't quite give it 5 stars. I gave it 4.5 though, and the more I think about it, the more I want to change my rating. I just ate this up. Anyway, I also started on my second book, which is Night Film by 𝗖cie puis𝘁𝘁. This is the mixed media mystery, and I'm already really intrigued. I'm 45 pages in because I picked up the audiobook as well. I will say right here, right now, this audiobook narrator cannot do a woman's voice at all. Oh my gosh. Dude cannot get that feminine quality in his voice. Thus far, I know that our main character is this disgraced journalist who at one point attempted to investigate this well-renowned film director who makes these really hardcore, terrifying horror movies. It sounds like almost like they would be illegal in certain countries, and you have to find these secret underground places to go and see them, which is crazy. The director's daughter has recently died, and it seems like it was suicide, but the journalist is not so sure and thinks that it might be tied to her father, and he is going to try and reinvestigate this man, even though it kind of ended up with his career in flames the last time he did so. Although he is a journalist, I definitely think we are getting that classic detective character with him. He seems very jaded. He drinks a lot, he's divorced, he doesn't have a healthy relationship with his kid, and he is obsessed with that one case that got away. I'm not loving him, but the mixed media aspect I'm really enjoying. Although I was listening to the audiobook when I got to the office, I actually went and flipped through to look at all of the images and stuff. It's just super interesting the amount of detail that's played into this, how the story is unfolding so far, and the way the author has utilized these media pieces to explain the background of these people and their stories, because it's almost as though I do know who this famous director is. I can't think of a specific person in real life to equate him to, apart from maybe the guy who did, what was it called? Cannibal Holocaust or something like that. That really terrible movie that the director paid the actors to go underground after it was made so that everybody would think that the actors actually died, and then he got sued for it. He had to have them actually come back out and showcase that no, they're not dead. That was a marketing ploy. Maybe that guy. I have no idea on what that dude's family life was like though. Anyway, so apart from that, regular vlogging things, I had work today. Haven't done anything particularly out of the ordinary. Oh, okay, I filmed a video. I have to do a ton of editing tonight because I've been procrastinating on it for the rest of the week. Hey guys, so it is Friday and I have just gotten back from work. I wanted to update y'all a little bit about Night Film because I hit about page 114-ish last night. I'm already actually to about 140 this morning because I've been continuing listening to the audiobook. Something I'm really enjoying already is that our main character, as I mentioned, is definitely I work alone detective, but what ends up happening as he is learning a little bit more about Ashley, he ends up getting 2 sidekicks very quickly, and they are both determined to try and solve this case along with him. I will definitely say they are super quirky and very entertaining to watch as they are trying to use the skills they have to solve this case. It's a weird group, but I'm having a great time with it. As for the mystery element, I have no idea where this is going. You don't know if what is taking place is actually a mysterious and dark thing, or if it was just this awful tragedy of this young woman taking her own life. It's definitely making it so I'm not sure how I should feel about these characters and the different suspects we are meeting. I like that though. I'm definitely into it. Apart from that, I had work today. It was fairly quiet, thank God. My dad and I met up with my brother and my nephew to go to our favorite taco restaurant, and it was delicious. I totally forgot to get any B-roll today at the office. Whoops. I also just wasn't feeling going to the gym today at all, honestly. I might do some yoga. idea. I might take Faith on a walk. I don't know yet. I have no idea what's going on tonight. Probably my parents and I will end up watching some Halloween movies, I bet. And then I actually have a baby shower for my sister-in-law tomorrow. I hopefully will get some more of this read tomorrow as well. I always get a ton read Saturday mornings when I get to be lazy, so I'm hoping I will work through a good chunk of this. On top of probably I will read tonight because I am very invested so far, which means I'm reading pretty quickly. Hey guys, so it's a Saturday. I've been being lazy this morning and working on getting some more of Night Film read. I am about at 3:10. So with that, I'm still really enjoying the mystery element of this, and I think I mentioned prior that the main character isn't a detective. He's a journalist, but he definitely has that very jaded, old school detective characterization that you see in many stories like that. And I didn't mind it at first, but being in this man's head constantly in first person perspective for 300 pages, it's been a lot. I'm getting really tired of his cynicism and just, there's just certain points where it's like, good Lord, man, do you have to look at everything complete, like not even glass half full, just glass empty? See, you can tell I'm inherently an optimist because I said glass half full and not glass half empty. That explains why I'm having a very hard time dealing with this perspective, unfortunately. Even though the mystery element has me very hooked, it's just his characterization is driving me crazy. The mystery has taken some really weird turns that I was not expecting this to go into. Not necessarily occulty, but kind of feels like there's an occult vibe going on, and I'm really into it. I'm about the halfway point. Unfortunately, this is going to be the last official update for this video, so I didn't finish both books, but I will continue working on this one. I have the audiobook as well, so, you know, I hopefully can finish it out before the end of the month because I am having a good time with it. I do just think I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a break here and there and maybe pick up something else on my TBR. Actually, I think everything else that I have left on my TBR isn't particularly happy-go-lucky either. I might just have to take a step back from this book every once in a while because, oh my god, Scott's perspective is exhausting to me. It's just so depressing sometimes to listen to someone who is just constantly so glum and looks at everything in such a negative light, and it's just very tiring. I do have to go get ready for my sister-in-law's baby shower here soon. I did want to let you guys know that I'm going to be going over to Josh's tonight, and I'm going to be going with him to another haunted house. This one's one we've done a few times in the past, but we haven't done it this year yet. We kind of waited till the last minute and had to get fast passes because everything was sold out, but that means, thankfully, we won't have to wait in line nearly as long. It was just a little bit more expensive than we were initially expecting. So finally, the last thing is that I had a package come in today and I had no idea what it was because I hadn't ordered anything. I could tell it was a book, but I didn't even think about the fact that somebody sent me a book from my wish list, and it was Paige at the PM Reader, and she is absolutely so sweet and I love her so much, and I'm not even a little bit surprised that she sent me Wolfsong because she was the one who basically recommended all TJ Klune to me and is the reason I picked this series up, and I'm so happy I have it on my shelves now. So thank you so much, Paige, for my birthday present. I love it. Anyway, so that is it for the talking updates. I will probably have a little bit more B-roll for you guys, hopefully when Josh and I go to the haunted house and stuff.